Today, I want to talk about a critical tension in leadership, one that we don't often speak about. It's that specific point where the drive for achievement can actually lead you to a future you no longer recognize as your own. This is a lesson I learned firsthand, and it's really at the heart of the From Pawn to Queen framework. Steve Jobs reportedly asked himself this very question every single day. It's a powerful way to check in on the alignment between what we do, our daily actions, and our deeper sense of purpose. And that's a theme we're going to explore right now. So let's talk about what I call the arrival paradox. This is about that precise moment in a high achiever's career where the path of performance starts to diverge from the path of personal fulfillment. And this right here is the core tension. Success, you see, creates its own momentum. It starts pushing you toward a destination that you may have never consciously chosen. And the reward for all of your hard work can become a future that feels completely misaligned with who you really are. To really understand this paradox, let's look at an actual career trajectory. This isn't just a theory, it's a compressed narrative of a real high-performance journey. My own career path was a pretty steady international climb. I started with accounting roles in the Philippines and Bermuda, and that eventually led to a leadership position in Hong Kong as Vice President, Head of Investor Services for the Asia-Pacific region. It was a very clear upward progression. And that role, it was incredibly demanding. My days were just filled with a high volume of complex client communications, a lot of late-night reporting, and the constant pressure of managing teams while also participating in high-stakes sales meetings. It was really the epitome of a high-performance environment. In that kind of world, my next step felt almost predetermined. You know how it is. The corporate ladder was linear, it was predictable. So the logical, expected progression was from vice president to senior vice president. It really just felt like a matter of when, not if. But then something shifted. And it wasn't a failure or some big crisis. It was a simple observation. An observation that triggered a fundamental change in my perspective. I saw a senior leader, a real big gun, who was basically a vision of my own potential future. And he was constantly on his phone, just moving from one meeting to the next, completely disconnected from his colleagues as he walked past. Now, he wasn't unkind, but he was just completely consumed by his work. And that simple observation sparked this powerful internal question. Just seeing that vision of my future, it crystallized the conflict between the success I thought I was chasing and the values I actually held. And just like that, I was at a crossroads with two very distinct paths. The expected path was to just keep climbing that corporate ladder. But the exploratory path, well, that was to invest in something completely different, a life coaching certification just to see if another direction was even possible. This wasn't a casual exploration either. The coaching course was a significant investment of over $7,000. It was a clear signal, at least to myself, of how serious I was about finding real alignment. From there, the pressure just intensified. I landed a dream role in Singapore. But then I tried to juggle that new job with my coaching studies, and on top of that I added another ambitious goal, earning a chess master title. I was pushing myself on three completely separate fronts, and the pressure just became unsustainable. And that's when I hit a breaking point. There's no neat solution here. The story ends with me feeling so overwhelmed that my only desire was to just sign out of everything. The tension between my ambition and my well-being had finally reached its peak. But from that point of intense pressure, several key realizations started to emerge. And these aren't just theories. They're insights that were forged from that direct experience. Now, in the Pawn to Queen framework, this is what I call the pawn stage. It's that period of disciplined competence and high performance where you're proving your value. But as my story shows, performance alone, well, it doesn't guarantee fulfillment. So this leads to the first crucial insight. You can be making excellent progress in your career, getting promotions, raises, more responsibility, while simultaneously moving further away from what truly matters to you. Progress and alignment are simply not the same thing. And that brings us to the second insight. We often just assume that the next step up is the right step forward. But automatic advancement is really just motion. Intentional direction, that requires a conscious choice. And finally, that feeling of misalignment, it isn't a sign of failure. It's actually the first signal of awareness. That subtle sense that something is missing, even when you're succeeding by every external measure. That's your starting point for intentional change.
All of this reflection leads me to one final and I think confronting question for you to consider in your own career.
Really think about it. If nothing changes, if you continue on your current path, where will you be in 5 years? Will the results be a deep sense of fulfillment, or will it just be another set of accomplishments on a path that isn't truly your own?